Hello everyone. I am Lauren Windsor. I'm your decluttering and organising coach, and welcome to another episode of my summer series, I Know Just the Girl. I do frequently get questions about where things should be placed for good Feng Shui when we're doing a decluttering job, and honestly, I have no clue. So if you ask me that question, if you've already asked me that question, I've already sent you to this wonderful woman, but if you ask me this question in the future, I will say I know just the girl for you, and that is Shelly. Shelly here. Gosh, I think Shelly and I think we've known each other for about 8 years. Shelly actually taught my son Charlie, who is now he's 12 and a half. He goes into high school next year. Shelly taught Charlie in preschool when he was about 3. So I've known Shelly for a while, and she was an amazing teacher, but she's an even more amazing Feng Shui master. On top of all the other hats she wears, she helps people. Gosh, I don't even know where to start how you help people with so many things. Feng Shui is such a broad topic. And if you're brand new to it, Shelly is an excellent place to start. So I will stop gushing and throw over to Shelly. Hi, Shelly.
Hi, Lauren. Thank you for having me today. It's such a pleasure to talk to you.
And to you. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got into Feng Shui and why you love it so much?
Okay, so I started with Feng Shui about 20 years ago, and it was just by accident because my mum used to read about Feng Shui tips in a newspaper in India.
Mhm.
And she would read it out and we'd be like, oh, this seems simple. It was like put a horse in the south for fame and recognition and things like that. So that's how it all started and piqued my interest. And then once I got married, I used to dabble in it quite a lot. Once I got married and we moved to Australia, that's when I didn't do it for a long time, but then I got to a point where I was like, I really want to learn from this lady whose books I had read in India. And so I wanted to make sure that, I knew she was getting older and I wanted to make sure that I could study from her. So I went to Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, and I studied from Lillian too. She's my guru. And that's where it all started. So I've got 2 kids, 2 children. They've grown up now. They're in year 12 and year 10. They've finished their year 10 and year 12. And my husband's a doctor. So it's kind of a contradictory thing that I do because, he's the science kind of factual kind of a person, whereas if you look at Feng Shui, you can't say exactly why it's working and how it is working. I can't, say, okay, if you do this and this will happen exactly in this form, because there's no way to really quantify it and put it in those terms. So it's kind of a mismatch there, but he's come around too because he never used to believe in Feng Shui. And now he just says to me, you know what to do, just do it and fix it. So it's good. Yeah.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Yeah, I know what you mean, that sort of balance between, or the friction, I suppose, between the evidence-based and the faith-based type.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think I'm alone in this. I struggle with that in my mind all the time. I'm like, how can I just trust that that's going to work? But I also think, I know very little about psychology, and even just down to things like, okay, I know when I'm decluttering my own stuff, there is a positive feeling that comes from that. And the clearing, you can feel it. It's not just like when you see it, you can also feel it. And when you feel it, it's easier to do, and that kind of thing. And I think Feng Shui is much deeper.
Yeah.
And has a much deeper and pronounced effect, or profound effect.
And decluttering is the first step, I would say, because that's where it all kind of falls into a heap. If your house is cluttered and, there's a lot of mess everywhere, you feel it yourself, like you said, you can really feel it. It's because Feng Shui is all about the energy of your place. Yeah. But when you have that clutter around you, your mind feels it as well. You kind of feel bogged down and you just can't function properly. Yeah. So yeah, that's the first step, I would say, decluttering. Yeah.
It's sort of the gateway.
The first step.
So if you've been working with me and getting your decluttering fix and you're ready for the hard stuff, Shelly comes in.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's a lot of them, but what would you say is the biggest misconception surrounding Feng Shui?
I would say that people think that feng shui is all about just placement of furniture.
Mhm.
That's the general concept, and that's everyone. People who don't know about feng shui or have heard a little bit about feng shui will just say, "Oh, yes, I know. It's about the flow of the energy." They do know that,
Mm.
and the placement of furniture. That's what I get all the time. But they'll be amazed how deep feng shui goes, because yes, it is about the flow of energy, and how you place your furniture is kind of a little bit of a small part of feng shui, but it's so much more deeper. There's so many layers in feng shui.
Mm.
um, so in feng shui you can fix any problem that you have. So if you have career issues, or if you have relationship issues, if you have money problems, if you can't conceive, there's so many, any problem that a human being can have,
Mm.
we can fix with feng shui. So it goes really deep, and it has a lot of layers that we work with.
Mm.
And that's what people don't know. They
Yeah.
think it's just a very superficial thing that you put things around and then it's fixed and it's done.
Mm.
But it goes a lot deeper. We take into account a person's date of birth. We take into account the house's date when it was constructed or when you moved in.
Mm.
And then how you marry that together, how you bring both the things. So a very simple example for those who have never tried feng shui, I would say, if you move into a house, or if you have just recently moved into a house, or you're planning to move into a house, just keep an eye out for how your life is going. So, the first 3 or 6 months will give you a clue
Mhm.
as to how the feng shui of the house is reacting to you as the person who's living in that house,
Mhm.
and whether it's bringing you good luck or bringing you lots of problems. I've heard so many people say that we moved into this house 2 months ago, our bathroom flooded, we had to
Mhm.
change the tiles, we had to do everything, and we've spent $20,000. And but that's the house giving you a sign that it's not working. So the good
Interesting.
thing about feng shui is that we fix everything, so we can fix any problem. And
Well, I have a client that I'm going to link to this discussion because she's had that experience.
yeah,
Oh, it is so fascinating. And it doesn't have to be difficult, does it? You don't have to like go all in and like rearrange everything and change the pictures all
not
the
no, not
time.
really. It depends. It depends on the feng shui consultant you get in touch with, I would say, because some would say, "Oh no, you can't." That's the attitude.
Mhm.
Whereas my attitude is, "Bring it on, and I'll fix it."
Yeah.
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 And
Well,
I
I
try and
that you've been very helpful. I know several people that you've worked with or just that and tiny little bits of advice that, you don't push it on anybody, but I think, gosh, it would have been years and years ago now, my son wasn't sleeping very well. And you just gave me a little tip, and I was like, well, it sounds like, complete nonsense to
yeah,
me, but what have I got to
yeah,
lose? So I
that's the
followed
thing.
that tip and sorted it out.
That's good. Yeah.
There's
Yes.
always a skeptic in me, and there is in a lot of people, I'm sure, that, but if it's not going to hurt to do, why not give it a go?
That's the thing, and I think that's where it becomes a hurdle, because people don't want to try it, thinking that it's just woo woo. We don't want to really. It doesn't work. That's their attitude.
Mm.
But how do you know it doesn't work if you don't try it?
And it's not that hard to, like you say, put a horse in the corner, and it doesn't have to be a whole horse. It can be
No,
like
just a figure or a
a
painting
picture.
or a photo. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just about symbols. It's feng shui is based on elements.
Mm.
So the basis of feng shui is 5 elements, and the balance of those elements is what brings that harmony in your space, in your environment, and that is what brings about success in everybody's life. So I mean, there are people who say, what if we don't believe in feng shui, and
Mm.
will it still work for us? In most cases, send me into a house and don't tell that person that I have been there. I'll
Mm.
just move a few things around, and I'll place the right element where it needs to go, and then ask that person, because you just feel it. It's
Mm.
amazing how within a few days, maybe a week. Week is quite a long time, but maybe within a few days you'll start feeling the difference because things start working out for you. You feel calm, you feel composed, you feel on top of things. So it just works.
Who doesn't want more of that? That sounds
Yeah.
amazing. So, I mean, you've already given us that awesome tip to, watch what's happening in your life in the few months after you move into a new place. But what would you like to tell a woman who's looking to sort of dip into Feng Shui for the first time? Maybe she isn't moving, it's just.
Yeah. So yeah, the good thing about feng shui is that you don't have to move in or build a house to feel its effects or to really get the benefits. So if you've been living in a house for say 20 years or whatever number of years, and you just want to try feng shui, I would say start with the basics of feng shui. I do hold workshops, and this year, I'm going to do online ones because of COVID, obviously.
Yeah.
Everybody's online, so it's just easier that way. And so the basic feng shui workshop, or if they pick up a basic feng shui book as well, or if they go to my website, they can get a lot of tips there because I do like to share those tips with people so that they understand how it works. Um, and they start there. It could be just placing a horse in the south to start off with. And in 2021, placing a horse in the south will be really beneficial because 2021, the star there is really good in the south. But if they just start with the basics of feng shui, and then I would suggest keeping their eyes and ears open because it gives you an indication. The moment you put a thing in a certain area or direction, it starts working straight away. And then you can really see the difference, and start slow. I would say don't rush into it because I have seen clients who've done everything in one go, and then because it's all about the energy is shifting. So when
That
you
would be
do
overwhelming then, wouldn't it?
too much in one go, the energy is kind of going, whoa, this is, and it has led to drastic changes in their life. Um, I mean, not that they were not feeling the problems already, but that change can be too much to handle at times. So I would say go slow. Um, like in decluttering, I don't know how you say it, Lauren, but I normally say take one room at a time and, get rid of things that you're not using.
Bite-sized chunks, make it as small
Yes.
decisions as
Yeah.
you can.
Don't go too big. Otherwise it gets too overwhelming and you don't do it then. So with feng shui, it will work, but it'll be too much for you to handle at times. And start with the basics and keep going. Don't stop. That's what I would say. So with feng shui, there are different, like I said, different layers. And there's one layer which is the yearly layer. Every year it changes. And that layer, I mean, the other layers are very important too, but that layer becomes more important because we are in that year right now. So for example, in 2021, by the 4th of February, everyone should have the yearly cures in place or the feng shui remedies in place. Um, why do we say that? Because that's when the year changes. The Chinese New Year starts. This year it's starting a bit late on the 12th, but still, 4th is the kind of the deadline when we say you should have all your cures in place. And what happens is any problem that is going to come into your life, into your house, into your office or your business, we've already made sure that we are controlling it. So it's as simple as that. So I'll give you a couple of examples so that people can put it in their house and see if it works for them. You can do it too. So this year, keep the southeast quiet. It has
You need to get a compass first and
yeah.
figure out where that is.
So even if you use your phone compass, it'll give you an idea. So Southeast has a star which is called the five yellows, and we need to make sure that we do not disturb the five yellows. So no digging, no cutting, no renovating. If you are, then we do give further tips to kind of control that so that you still can do it. So keep Southeast quiet. In the north, we have the sickness star this year in 2021. So people who were born in the year of rat need to take extra care. If you have your bedroom there, you need to take extra care. If you have your main door, you need to take extra care because when these negative stars get activated, what happens is that they become stronger and they start working overtime, and which is something we don't want. So, and there's another star which can cause quarrels. And all the ladies, all the women in the world, all the females need to take extra care this year. They should place either a bowl of apples in the southwest, because we have the quarrelsome star in the southwest, and southwest is our sector. That's the
I
lady.
just realized it would have looked like I was rolling my eyes. I was thinking
No, you were.
west.
I know. Yeah. So
I'm going to
southwest
read you and take
having
notes.
yeah, having a bowl of apples, red apples in the southwest will really help all the women, because that keeps tempers down. If you're at work, again, keep a bowl of apples. Let people eat it. Just make sure there's one or two left, so that that apple keeps working. But generally speaking, apples bring peace. So, and because all of us have, we'll have a short circuit this year because we have the quarrelsome star. So we will find that we are getting angry very quickly. So, or people are finding faults with us, and we are reacting too much. So, so everyone needs to put a bowl of apple in the southwest, or something red.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's, like I said, I'm going to have to rewatch this and take some notes. But that is fascinating, just knowing where, society in general has been in the last 12 months, and looking forward, I can see, it would make sense. Just, if you've watched the news at all in the past 6 months, even knowing women in general, we're sort of shifting a little bit. And over in the States with the election of Kamala Harris, and suddenly we're finally, I saw a meme like the day after she was elected, and somebody said, make sure you're wearing shoes, ladies, there's glass all over the floor. Yes. And I can see what you're saying is a flow on from that.
And especially
not Feng Shui related at all, but it is, isn't it?
Yeah. And for ladies who are in power, they need to take extra care as well.
Yeah. So not necessarily weakening ourselves in any way, just being aware of.
Yeah, and it is a simple tip, it's something, if you are aware, and if you can, just by putting apples there, what is going to happen?
How hard is that? Yeah.
How easy can it get?
Random question then. Does it need to be real apples, or can we have
No, it doesn't.
apple, or?
Yeah, it can be artificial, it can be a painting. It as long as that symbol is there, that's all.
Awesome. Cool. Could even have like one of those old Apple computers, the big bright colored ones.
Yes.
Red Apple computer.
We do need red. So if you don't have a red apple, like if it's a computer with an apple, just place something red there, like a little mat or something, and it'll do the trick.
See, it's not that hard, is it? That's amazing. I want to know, and I'm sure because we have discussed this before, but where do you see the most where your clients struggle with clutter?
I think it's that to let go is the problem. Because I guess I do that too. Like, you buy an expensive dress, or even if it's not expensive, you really like it, then you don't fit into it. And then you keep it, no, I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to get back to it and I'll wear it. I love this dress. It's those kinds of things that we kind of tend to keep just because we like it, or it's special, or it has, special connections with people. It could be So I think that really makes a difference. Letting go is the problem. But once they start doing it, they feel liberated, and then they just get into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to say you need to build a bit of muscle for those more difficult ones you work on first.
Definitely.
But the clothes that we don't fit into, that kind of thing, I call that past life clutter. And I'm sure that means different things to other people, but for me, who I was a year ago or 10 years ago or whatever, that's your past life clutter.
Definitely.
And so I suppose some people would have already made a judgment about this, but would you consider yourself naturally organized?
I would say I am, but not like too much. I remember when we were growing up, my mom is, she's very organized. So you open her cupboard and there will be stacks of whatever, clothes or sheets or whatever, her clothes or sheets. They are all in symmetry, they're all folded properly. And it's like, it's like you're standing in a shop, it's amazing. But she loves doing it, and she will spend hours doing that. She won't cook, she won't clean, but she would do that. She loves doing it. So I guess it depends on your lifestyle. So most of the time, and she used to say this, she still says this, that you should have a spot for everything,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
And I've grown up hearing that, and there are times when my house is like, everything is everywhere, but generally speaking, I know where things are. So organized enough, I guess.
So you can pack it up when you need to. It might not always be packed up and tidy, but
Yeah,
that's
that's true, because it just depends on your phase of life. So if you have young children, I find you're so much more busy, or at least I felt it.
Mm.
And now that they're older, I feel I'm so much more in control of how things are working, and they're not creating as much clutter anymore. So it's easier now.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people will resonate with that.
Yeah.
Very it's who we are, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's main thing is just to start. That's where it all begins, obviously, but just to get in and put everything in one pile or in a container or whatever you have, a sack. Just do that, so that because the energy shifts so quickly that and you would have seen people react when you do it for them. But I mean, seriously, from feng shui perspective, it is the best thing one can do, decluttering, getting rid of things. Because if I go a bit deeper into feng shui again, when you have clutter in a certain direction or in a certain part of your house, which would obviously follow a compass direction, you'll find your life suffers. So if, for example, there is a room which is full of clutter and it is in the southeast, and southeast is the direction of money. So money luck comes from southeast. Now, when you have this pile of junk sitting in the southeast, you'll find the money won't stay. Even if the money is coming in, it won't stay, or it will not come in, or there will be reasons for it to go out very quickly. So it's so simple. So again, if your health is what is suffering, you'd want to look in the east direction. You want to see what you have there, because east is the health direction.
Okay.
It all kind of manifests very quickly, because it might take a few months for it to build up, and then that energy becomes stale. And as that energy becomes stale, it starts sending out the negative energy towards you. And then it starts creating those problems for you. And say, for example, people living in a house which has this clutter all around them, they will suffer. Their success will suffer. They'll feel stagnated. They will see a difference in their health, their luck, any kind of luck, everything will suffer because of that. So you need to get in, really quickly get Lauren in and get rid of clutter, because I find that it's sometimes hard to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're emotionally involved. Whereas if there is a third person there who has no connection to anything, and they know that how important it is to really get your life, in order, and how feng shui kind of the house of your feng shui, your personal feng shui is affected. It kind of makes sense to get rid of it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, like, you could have all of the symbols where they're supposed to be, your horse and your apples and everything, but if that apple's sitting in the corner and it's under a pile of stuff and it starts to rot, it's probably not going to be sending off the right vibes, is it?
No, it'll create more problems rather than
yeah. So it's one thing to put them in place, but you have to honor them. You have to have the space.
And you have you have to have that space to really, it's I would say to consider your personal space as a sacred space, because how, at least in our culture, in our religion, we are Sikhs, we take our shoes off when we go into our prayer room, we cover our head, we bow, so you do all those things and you keep it clean. That's how everyone should keep their bedrooms, especially because that's the area where you are spending the longest time of a day. And that's when you're the most vulnerable, because you are sleeping and your chi is resting, So that's the area that space should be the one that should be the cleanest. There should be no clutter. The main door is again one area where it should, no shoes around it or pile of magazines or things that, just pile up. So decluttering is the basis of feng shui, I would say.
And I love that you said that, the bedroom and the entry, because often when a client's not sure where to start, that's where I recommend, because
Yeah,
because
that's
that's, like you
perfect.
say, that's where you're spending your time, and that's where you want to feel at peace
Yeah.
and revived and stuff. And also when you first come into the house, you want to
And
feel
that's where the
in your
energy,
home. Yeah.
yeah, and that's where the energy is entering your home as well. All the luck is entering from the main door.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is cluttered,
Mm.
you open the main door, the energy is trying to come in, luck is coming to you, but what will happen is it'll turn into negative energy and bring negative things to the house rather than positive. So good place to start.
We definitely don't want that. And I think you've probably already covered, you've given us so many tips, but do you have one decluttering tip that you'd like to share? Or was that, like you said?
I would say get started would be mine. Yeah, just get in. Even if it's just a desk,
Mm-hmm.
choose a small area, start somewhere, even if it's just a drawer, start somewhere. But I personally find that if I, allocate myself a day in a week that I'm going to do this area today, because I can get very busy at times. I'm out of the house all day.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you come back, things are everywhere. And then next morning you get up and you go again, So there are days where you are like that. And people who work full time will feel it more rather than, whereas I work from home and I have the flexibility, but I find it hard at times. So having a spot for everything, having an allocated spot, and then just get started, or get in and do 5 minutes if you can, 10 minutes if you can. But I think that's what keeps going. And over time, you get into the habit. It's all about your habits. And a lot of things I find is all up in your head rather than what you see around you is actually a manifestation of what is going on in your,
Yes.
yeah, you agree.
That too.
Yeah. So take time for yourself, I would say. Everyone, especially us females, I find we take on too much. And we do have a lot of hats on. We are mums, we are wives, we are sisters, daughters, and so, and drivers. I would say take time out of your routine, especially first thing in the morning. So even if you have to get up earlier, maybe 15, 20 minutes earlier, 10 minutes earlier, and just I'm a big fan of meditation. I never used to do meditation, but now I love it. I take half an hour out every morning to meditate. Um, and it's the best thing you can do for yourself. Your mind is settled. Once you are settled, your house will be settled as well. So it's all about up there. And then it kind of, starts manifesting around you. So if it is a cluttered house, that means your brain is working overtime. You're not doing anything for yourself because you need to slow down, and then things will work better for you. And it's funny how we tend to do more when we are stressed. Try and get out of it by, keeping ourselves more occupied. But slowing down would be the answer. That's what I find.
Oh, I love that. I think a lot of people hear slowing down and they think, but I've got so much to do. You can still accomplish a lot of things, but you don't have to be busy,
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be rushed and overwhelming. And yeah, bringing yourself back to that calm center before you welcome the world.
Yeah. And I think that would be the best gift you can give this year to yourself as a woman, because everything revolves around us. Our family is, you're the anchor. And if you're not settled, if you're not happy, your house feels it, your family feels it, everything is kind of revolving around you. So grounding yourself is so important. So yoga or a walk in the nature, just go out for a while, take some time for yourself, slow down. I know there will be lots of excuses, but I always say that if you're making an excuse, that means you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
That's true.
So, I mean, if anybody says, oh, but, if there is an excuse, they just don't want to. So you have to kind of look in and see what you want in your life
Mhm.
because you can achieve it in so many different ways. Feng Shui is just one way of doing it,
Mm.
but there's so many other ways of doing it as well. Just find what works for you
Mm.
and get started. So get started.
Okay, we'll quote that one for okay. So much good advice, and I know that there is so much involved in Feng Shui, and all the ways, like you said, it's literally anything can be helped, if not solved,
Yeah.
through this practice. And I know so little. I would say nothing. So if anyone listening, if you've been sparked, if you've been inspired by anything Shelly's had to say, or just a little bit intrigued, I will have all of her links below this video. And I highly recommend checking out Shelly's Facebook and website, because she has some fantastic, you've got a YouTube channel as
Yes,
well.
I do. Yeah.
Some excellent videos. They're all really simple, easy to implement tips. There's no, throw everything at you type of stuff. It's just like that, I think I need to go and find some sort of red apple thing to happen, but I need to compass my house first.
Get your children to draw one.
Yeah, there you go. I'll draw it. I'll get them to draw an apple, and it'll have pride of place somewhere. When
Frame it, and then it's done.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me today, Shelly. And like I said, anyone who would like to get in touch with Shelly, all the links will be below. You can always leave a comment here on either YouTube or on our my Facebook page, and one of us will reply to you.
And thank you so much for having me, Lauren.
Thanks, Shelly. Bye.